Welcome to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. I am your writer-in-chief, Sarunas Jackson. I am a lover of words, and that love led me to a passion for writing. And what's the next best thing to writing? Talking about writing. So kick back and join me for mind-blowing chats about writing, covering everything from screenplays to novels to poetry, from nonfiction books to songwriting, and much more. Raised in the Inland Empire in California, Sarunas Jackson is one of 4 children. He comes from a family of athletes and mainly grew up as one. But he found a love for TV and film at the age of 5 when he first watched an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But his other love for basketball called, and he went on to receive a scholarship to play basketball and then played professionally overseas. During the off-season, he went back to LA to film basketball commercials. His very first commercial was a Jordan brand commercial with NBA player Chris Paul, directed by Paul Hunter. After several major national commercials, he got an opportunity of a lifetime to work with Spike Lee in the top-selling video game NBA 2K. That project led him to work with Spike Lee once again in Chirac. Jackson soon found success with his breakout role as Dro on Insecure. He has since worked on the hit series Good Trouble in the reoccurring role of Isaac Hall and on BET's drama series Games People Play as the leading man Marcus King. So welcome to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. Today we are speaking with Sarunas Jackson.
Hey.
Hey, cousin.
How you doing, cousin?
Good, you?
I'm good. Just, I guess doing as good as anybody would be during these times. You know, I'm pretty lucky, fortunate. Just keeping busy and just trying to find new hobbies, you know, things
Definitely.
like that. Yeah.
Definitely time for the hobbies. If you didn't have any before, you definitely need them now.
Man, this time really showed me. I was like, wow, I guess I really only like a couple of things. I need to expand my horizons. You know, but we'll see. I still even haven't expanded too much, but a little bit here and there.
Well, that's good. At least you're getting something done.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know you because you are one of the stars on Games People Play. You are the leading man.
Yes.
and just to tell you guys, I unofficially adopted him as my cousin because we have the same last name. So I think anybody with the last name Jackson, we related.
Me too. I'm always like, where your family from?
So you were raised here in California, right?
I was born in Philly, but raised in the Inland Empire. So for people who don't know, about an hour east of Los Angeles. And when we first came out here, we were like in Pasadena. I lived some time in Carson, but we went to the Inland Empire. We're in Fontana, Ontario, Corona, and just spent the majority of time there. My immediate family's still there. And I went to high school out there, the middle school and everything. So I was raised down the Inland Empire, where sports is very important. So that's how I got really heavy into sports. We got a lot of professional athletes out of the Inland Empire area. And it was just like it was crazy because we're close to LA, but it seems so far at the same time,
right?
Because you got everybody, I mean, that's working class area. Everybody, parents is working. None of us don't have no car. So we're not driving to LA. So we just in our bubble. And, and without traffic, LA is about an hour. But with it, it'd be, from anywhere from 2 to 3.5. And we weren't just making trips like that until we got a little older. We just kind of had our own little culture out there. Which is cool. I mean, I think it helped out a lot when it came to focusing on choosing your craft or working on your sports and your studies and stuff like that. The best house parties because we had no nightlife out there. So we knew how to have a good time.
Well, that's cool. So you grew up playing basketball like throughout your whole school career?
Yeah, so like I said, I was born in Philly, and the culture out there is big with sports, right? Basketball, football, baseball. This culture is big out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I played basketball majority of my life. I started out playing baseball, and then but I played all three major sports: basketball, football, and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I got to high school, I focused more on football and basketball. I did some track as well. I was playing a little bit baseball still in high school, but I think where baseball kind of loses, um, the appeal to black ball players is just a lack of culture at times. And
Mm.
when you're playing, you're on teams, and then it's like, I got lucky on one of my teams where it was like me and like there was like two or three other black ball players. I'm Afro Latino, and then I had like my boy Teddy and James. They were full black players
Mm-hmm.
from here. And then had another mixed kid on there too. But like so you got some type of culture with it. Like you got somebody to relate to.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're not, and you just like one of the only ones, then it gets you could lose interest. And then once you get a taste of playing basketball and football, that fast pace, boom, boom, boom. And then you go back to baseball and you just in the outfield. And if you have a really good pitcher on your team, ain't nothing get hit to you. I'm like, he's striking everybody out. I'm like, throw it down the middle, man. We sometimes like we would like me and my teammates would be like, yo, just give them something to hit, yo. We just want to field something. I just want to feel like I did something today. And so it could be slow, but yeah. But yeah, the majority of the focus was basketball and football. That was the main focus.
Okay. And you went to play professionally overseas. What was that like?
Oh, it
And where
was.
did you play also?
Oh, mainly throughout Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of high school, I was practicing a bit with the Panama national team. My mother was born in Panama, so I'm a first generation American from her side.
Mm-hmm.
Or North American, and so I was eligible to be on the national team, and so they picked that up, knew about me from doing their research, I guess. I think they picked up an article and I mentioned something about me being Panamanian, and then they just was like, what? And
Mm-hmm.
ran with it. And so that was interesting, getting that young, getting experience young. But then I played in college, and after college, I played in Tokyo, Taiwan, Hong Kong,
Oh, wow.
a little bit in Indonesia. Was supposed to play in the Philippines, but that year the typhoon was coming, and they were like, nah, like let's send them home. Like literally, we got there at the airport, and when we got to the airport, we literally didn't leave the airport. They're like, no, we got to send you back, because they didn't want to have any responsibility for any American deaths on their hands because the typhoon was that bad that year. So,
oh, wow.
But yeah, so that's the reason why I didn't. But yeah, I played in all those areas.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really exciting. And that actually made you the perfect pick to be the bell lead in games people play.
Yeah. It was I got, when it comes to any of these athletic roles, I always feel like I should be in the mix because one thing people don't like know is I always wanted to act ever since I was like act, write, direct, produce, whatever it was. When I was like 5 years old, I fell in love with it. And watching Will Smith on Fresh Prince, he's from West Philly. I was originally from West Philly. I had big ears like him, and so and I just I knew I wanted to be a part of that world, and I had to put it to the base side because, like I said, being in the IE, even though it's close to LA, seems so far. Nobody, like, you don't have parents that have time to like take you to auditions or sets when they're working full hour days. You know what I mean? And
right.
so I didn't have, I couldn't, and so my focus was on sports until my senior year of high school. I had a theater teacher who really loved what I was doing in class, and basically told me, she was like, I know you're going to be playing sports and getting your scholarships and stuff, but she's like, I'm just saying, if you wanted to take this serious, if you wanted to pursue this, I think you could do something in this field. And I remember that was the first time somebody outside of myself telling me that, and it kind of just like opened up a whole thing for me. I was like, wow, like, oh wow, like it's not just like this kind of like dream where like where it didn't really seem attainable. You know, it was just kind of like, I want to do that. I dream of doing that. I don't know how that's going to happen, but, you know, that's just what I would love to do. And then when she said that, it just kind of became something. I'm like, oh, like, you know, and she was the type, like, she was big in theater. She did a lot of theater stuff. I think she did like a couple guest stars, you know what I mean? But like when you're in the IE and you heard somebody was like on NCIS or something like that, that's a big deal. Cause like we don't have like people not just like on TV or like acting like that from the IE. There's only a couple people I know really doing it, you know, from that area. So I was just kind of like, oh dang, like Miss Mastrioni saying that. And I took it really serious. And so I kept that in my mind moving forward and decided like to take a semester in college. It was hard to be an athlete and do the theater program, but I took a semester and then I also, when I would come back home, I started doing commercials. And my big brother who went to Clark Atlanta, Marcus Jackson, he went to Clark Atlanta. He majored in film and TV. So he started working at this production company with a guy named director named Paul Hunter. And people know his work from, you know, he did Michael Jackson's, you know, You Rock My World and D'Angelo, the How Does It Feel video, all these legendary videos and stuff. And so I got cool with him because one thing about Hollywood, man, they love basketball. A lot of people in Hollywood love basketball. You go to the Laker game, you're going to see all types of people there. You're going to go to Clipper game, see all types of people there. They just love it. So he had a whole basketball court in his backyard. We would play there. And he asked me one day, he was like, man, you know, like, I know you want to get into this. I'm doing this Jordan Brand commercial for Chris Paul. Because at that time, he was coming to the Clippers at first. And he was like, you want to be in it? I was like, man, fuck yeah, I would want to be in it. I was like, yeah. And so that's how I started. You know, my big brother kind of put me in front of right people and just let me do my thing. And it just kind of started going from there. It was a lot of commercials at first. And at first I was like, how do I even get to the other side of like film and TV? Because I was just in the commercial world, which was great. I mean, like financially it was great. You know, you book a national commercial, you get residuals. I was like, oh Lord, okay, this is I can chill for a little bit while I go out for these auditions, you know. And so I finally got a chance to do this movie called The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg and John Goodman and Brie Larson. And the guy that was doing the basketball coordinating for that, his name is Mike Fisher. He does a lot of the basketball, football, like any sport, like Moneyball, whatever it is, baseball, like he's doing the sport coordination for it, and he cast the guys. And so he casted me in that. And then from there, I just kind of kept this relationship with him and just kind of build a couple credits. And even though it would say I'm a principal actor, it was kind of glorified extra. You know, I'm just like one of the basketball players and have no lines. Or even if I did like have like some banter, it was just like banter stuff, or some of it didn't even make the movie. I remember I had a couple lines that didn't even make the movie. So I was like, damn. And so I kind of used that to like finagle my way to getting some representation. Like I kind of lied and made it seem like my role was going to be bigger before it came out. All they had to do was check IMDb, then they see, you know, oh, I got a credit on there. And it says like, you know, because it didn't just be like, it wasn't like basketball player number 2. It was like a name. So like they were like, you know, oh, okay. And, you know, I kind of just lied and made it seem like it was going to be bigger than what it was. But then, you know, just auditioned well, then that's, you know, the circuit kept going like that.
Oh, wow. So you went from like doing the commercials, and then you got some smaller roles, like some shorts and things like that. Then you went to, was your next move Insecure?
No. So then because of the basketball stuff, doing all that, I ended up getting this audition for NBA 2K16.
Oh, okay.
And NBA 2K is one of the biggest selling games there is, especially in the sports world. And they have a storyline. They have a mode in the game called My Player. So you create your player. Like let's just say, all right, Rosalind Jackson wants to create her player. You create your player, which you know, and you can make it any position you want, whatever. And then once you create your player, you start the story mode. And in the story mode, it's like a movie. So it starts. And I'm doing the acting for your likeness, and so I was a My Player. I was a lead character in the My Player mode. Oh, and like there's a trailer for it and everything. It was like intense and stuff. So like, yeah, so Spike Lee was directing that. And I didn't know that when I was auditioning at first. Now, when I got this, I I got the audition, and I remember I was like, man, I should be able to get this. I remember doing it for Kim Coleman, right? Audition for Kim Coleman. I do well. Literally, when I'm leaving the audition office, my agent calls me. He was like, all right, they want to call back. And I was like, for real? I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, all right, bet. Now, let's just say that was a Monday. That Friday, I was supposed to be leaving because things were going slow. I was going to be leaving to China, go play in China, and get paid pretty decent. And I was like, man, there's an opportunity. I was like, you know what? I'll just go because leagues in China, like in Asia, they're very short. So I could be away for 3-4 months, come back, stacked up, then I could afford to continue to go after this stuff. So I was like, all right, that won't hurt me too much being away that long. It's not like I'll be gone for a year. And I was kind of set on doing that, but then my agent calls me back. She's like, all right, it's not a call back. You're going to do a chemistry read. You're going to do a screen test. So it's basically down between you and like whoever else. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, for real? I was like, all right. And she was like, and the director, and I was like, okay, yeah. And she was like, the director is Spike Lee. And I was like, what? I was like, what?
Like, yes, please.
Oh. And then they were like, but the screen test not going to be till Saturday. So I was like, I'm supposed to leave Friday. I was like, all right. Now I had a decision to make. So I sat on it 2 days. I was like, all right. I was like, okay. I was like, man, I'm not going to get this chance. Like in my mind, I was like, how often do I get to fucking screen test for Spike Lee and he's going to be there? I was like, nah, I got to bet on myself. I was like, because like I've been trying to retire anyway. I didn't want to hoop like for much long. I didn't want to keep prolonging what I wanted to do. So I just bet on myself, and that Saturday came. And I was like, you know what? And I got a story to tell him too. I'm going to use anything to try to get him to like me, to cast me. So we do it. And now it was crazy. It was like a Royal Rumble. So it's like me. It was like, there was like 3 or 4, like 3 actors for each role testing, right? So there was me, there was a role of my girlfriend, the role of my twin sister, the role of my best friend. There were all 4 of us were going out for it, right? So the parents? No. I think they already had it. So all 4 of us was all 4 of the actors, all 4 of the characters, were being tested that day because there was scenes with all of them and stuff, mixing and matching. And so we would go in, it would be me and one girl for the role of my girlfriend, and another girl, whatever, and then mixing and matching. And little by little, they're like, all right, thank you for coming, and let somebody go. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, they're doing it right here, right now? I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay. I was okay. It's okay. I done shot free throws in front of 15,000 people before. Let's keep it cool. Right. And then I remember like when we saw, everybody kind of saw the like when it was down to 2 for each row, and we all kind of saw the other person leave, we all kind of looked at each other like, do we have it? And then we all get called in, and Spike's in there, and then all and before this, I remember like one of my times in there, he was like asking me questions where I was from, boom, my basketball experience. And I tell him, so I'm like, man, look, I was like, I met you at that time, would have been, if that was 2015, would have been 12 years prior to that. I was like, 13, it would have been 02. 02 or 03, I can't remember now. It was 03, yep. So 12 years prior to that. So then I was like, man, I met you 12 years ago. I was like, my big brother, named Marcus Jackson. He played at Clark Atlanta. He was a shooting guard for Clark Atlanta, and he was torching Morehouse, and because he went to Morehouse. But Spike took a lot of classes at Clark Atlanta as well. So I was like, man, he was torching y'all. I was like, he's lefty. He was like super light skin. He looked like Tayshaun Prince. And I was like, and after the game, or when you came to come watch him, and you actually asked the coach from Morehouse, or like, and at Clark, to see if you could meet him after the game. And after the game, when you were meeting him, he came and got me, my brother, and my dad, and said, I want y'all to meet someone. When we came in, it was you. And I was like, what? I was like, how you doing? And he asked me, he was like, oh man, you talk, because by then I was like 13. I was already like 6 foot right then. He was like, oh wow. He's like, oh yeah, you gonna be a beast. You gonna ball like your brother. And I told him, I was like, yeah, man, and hopefully, I get good enough to be in one of your movies when I get older too, like Ray Allen. And he was like, okay, bet, yeah, well, hopefully. And just fast forward 12 years later, I was just like, bro, it was crazy because He Got Game was one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And
that's a good one.
And yeah, and so I told him that story there, and he was like, I think I remember your brother. He got the tattoos of the three women on his arm. I was like, yeah, because he has his mom, his auntie, and his grandma. And I was just like, yeah. And then from there he booked me. He booked my friend Anya, Anya Engel Adams, who played my girlfriend on there. Wade Wilson, who's on Dear White People right now. He played my best friend, and my twin sister was Michelle Mishner, who was on Lethal Weapon and right now on First Wives Club, actually, for BET. Yeah. And she just got added as a regular this season, I think. So, and that was all of our starts, all of our first kind of big credit in a way. And so it was really a beautiful experience for all of us, where we're all just like kind of forever just bonded from that. I mean, he took us to meet Francis Ford Coppola at his winery up there. Yeah, I was just like, I mean, never in my life would I thought I was going to meet the director and create, Godfather, you know what I mean? Apocalypse Now and stuff. I was just like, what? And talking to him, and he was just telling us stories about Marlon Brando and James Caan and Robert De Niro and all these guys, Al Pacino, and what the stuff he was telling us, we were like, he told us how like the first time that the whole cast was going to meet and have a dinner together, that they all agreed to come in character, and they all ate in character. And I was just like, wow, like that's incredible. And so obviously he told us that, and we were in our first week of rehearsal. We was like, well, guess what we gonna do? like it was just it was just an incredidible experience. And and these people I'm still cool with to this day. We talk when we can, and we keep each other updated and stuff. And then from there, Spike put us off, all of us, and then the woman who played my mother on there put us all in, Gina Blythewood. He put us all in Chirac, the movie after. And we literally worked back to back with Spike because he loved what we did there. Then he ended up writing a role, just a small role, to put me in there because like everybody else had, like, they made sense for the role they had. For me, he just created one just to have me in it. I was like, man, that's love. Like he didn't have to do it. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the Spike is just like super generous. I mean, we got gifts. He would take us to the Golden State Warriors games because we were filming up in Northern California for 2K. It was just an incredible experience. I mean, it was just, I was spoiled. I was like, wow, So that was before Insecure.
Okay. Well, how does acting in a video game differ from, like live action, besides, being on the actual camera? Like, what are the differences?
Well, I mean, no, we do use actual cameras because they have to use all the motion capture stuff, right? So we got to put on this whole bodysuit with all these sensors on it. You're wearing this helmet with this camera in front of your face to capture all your expressions. There's a process too. You got to like sit in this one photo lab where all these cameras are surrounding you, and you just have to do all these facial expressions. Which was interesting, so they can integrate all that. But to be honest, it was, I mean, it's less of a hassle because there's no makeup, no hair, there's no wardrobe. You don't got to go to this set, whatever. It's all on one set. They build it digitally. The thing I would say helped me as an actor, because you got to use your imagination and you got to be dialed in. And you got to memorize a lot of dialogue, because you got, like, for me, like, let's just say, all right, I'm in high school. I'm about to commit to a college and I got to give that speech. Well, there's multiple colleges. So I got to give my speech for a lot of colleges. I got to do that same speech for but they're all different. They're not the same. You just replace the school. You got to give different speeches, like wrote different type of speeches for each one. I was just like, man, like, and I remember on the day, because we had colleges that pulled out and other colleges said like, yeah, we'll do it. And so they switched up some of the colleges on me. I was like, man, what the heck? I was like, but you got to do what you got to do. And that, I would say that because of that, I never got scared to memorize lines ever again. I was just like, oh yeah, I got this. So, but there's this less of a hassle. I will say, like actually acting on a live action set. I mean, you don't have to like flex your imagination muscle so hard when you're in an actual car, because then on that set, there's like these rails that they build that would basically be the outline of a car, but you're just kind of pretending you're in a car. You don't see the car. And when you're actual home, when you're actual like the wardrobe, it all helps, it all helps for sure. It's just more tedious, the live action stuff, but it all feeds into the actual set way more than just trying to purely use your imagination.
Oh wow. I always wondered how they did that with the video games. That's really cool. Yeah. And so next you went to Insecure. Tell us about the show and your character, and will you be coming back?
So yeah, I did a couple of guest stars after working with Spike, and things got slow a bit. And then I was on the writing staff for this Dr. Dre show that was supposed to come out called Vital Signs, just never did. And so when things were slow a bit, I was like, man, I actually went to go play in Hong Kong for like 3 months or 2 or 3 months just to I was like, let me get some bread and stuff. I got lucky because I had not played for 2 years. I thought I was done. Got lucky because I went to this workout where there were some people watching, some scouts, and I was just ripping at that workout. So I was just like, you know what? Like I went to with a friend just to go be a body and help him. But they saw me playing. They were like, yo, would you be interested? I'm like, how long? Shoot. Yeah, I'll go. And then I come back, and then I had auditioned for Stranger Things for the second season. And, I was auditioned a couple of times, got pretty close, and they ended up splitting that role into 2 different characters. They weren't really memorable characters, but I remember it was such a big deal to me at that time because I haven't had nothing like that. I'm just like, man. So then for some reason, I'm like, you know what, obviously I want to create and write more and stuff and create my own stuff. I started just looking up like young, Black filmmakers and writers and stuff. And, just looking up Donald Glover stuff, obviously Issa. I've been watching Issa's Awkward Black Girl. I saw that. I was watching that in college, you know what I mean? So that, Lena, all these people, I'm just like Ryan Coogler, anything he directed, I was looking at all this stuff. And when I was watching, for some reason, I just got attached to all the Insecure, like interviews with all the cast and the writers and Prentice and everybody. And just, I felt connected to them. And I just remember being like, I watched the first season and I loved it, and I remember being like, man, some of these people are tall. I was like, Jay Ellis is 6'4". She has a brother on that comes in and out of the show, and he's 6'5". And Issa tall, Yvonne kind of tall. I was just like, man, they're not shy of tall people. Like,
right.
That's. I was like, okay, like I feel good about it. I was like, man, I hit my agent up. I was like, yo, like, just be on the lookout for any roles. I don't care how small it is, but look out for any roles for season 2 of Insecure. And she was like, she's like, okay, got you. 4 days later, she was like, yo, you're getting really strong with your senses because I got an amazing audition that's just so you. And I was like, send it. And then I saw at first it said half Black, half Mexican. I was like, well, shit, I could sell that. I'm after that thing. Okay, I could do that. And then said open marriage. I was like, and at the time, I was at the tail end of a relationship and I was exploring the open relationship. She presented it. I might have to be clear about that. And so it was just crazy to me. I was like, does somebody know Issa?
Right.
That, about like that I know? Like, are they telling them about me? I was like, this is crazy. I was like, what? So then I went in and had a good read. And I went in to read for Vicky Thomas, legend, Leah, and all them. And I just remember, I always know I did good when they talked to you afterwards for a minute. And I was just like, okay, so we're talking. I was like, I feel good about this. I leave, and then it was like kind of like same thing with Spike. My agent calls me and was like, they want to do a chemistry read with you and Yvonne, who plays Molly, later this week or it was next week or something like that. And I was just like, okay, for sure. Yeah. I was like, same scenes. I was like, all right, bet. I was like, oh, I feel good. I was like, I'm about to get. I told her, I was like, man, I'm about to get this shit for real. And like, and before I even like did the first audition, I felt good to the point, like I had shitty management at that time. And I was like, I'm gonna drop them just in case I get this so they don't feel entitled to this. So I dropped them and, you know, whatever. And I was like, y'all, like, you know, we good, do y'all thing. Y'all don't need to, like, I don't need to talk to y'all no more. Don't reach out to me, boom, whatever. Because they were just horrible. They were disrespectful, horrible people. I was like, okay. So I'm like, whatever. And they're like, well, good luck. You're gonna need it. I'm like, okay. And then I do the chemistry. So that day I come in to do the chemistry read, and I see who I'm going up against, and I was like, it was interesting. I was like, okay, I see a new face guy. So I think he's a little older than what they want, but I don't know exactly what they want, maybe, but he just seemed like he would be. And then I saw another guy from a show I used to love growing up, and I was like, oh damn, okay. But from what they were asking, I was like, I don't think he'll get it, but you never know. You never know.
Right.
I saw like Miguel there, and I was like, man, if they cast Miguel, I'm gonna be mad. Like, dog, like he's already big. Let me get my opportunity.
Right.
So then we do it. I feel really good in the room. I'm testing with Yvonne for really good. Apparently, I think she was just like, yeah, I like him and stuff. And so I was like, okay, shout out. And I felt really good. You know, I saw Issa in there. I kind of got nervous because, you know, I've loved Issa for so long. Like, I've been a big fan of her since YouTube. So I was just like, man. And I saw Prentice, and he's been on things I love, you know, Girlfriends and everything. And I was just really excited. And so I leave. Now, I leave feeling good. I'm driving home. Now, that was at Sony Pictures, right? In Culver City. I was living in North Hollywood at that time. So I drive all the way back to North Hollywood. I'm literally pulling up my apartments. I get a call from my agent, was like, they want you to go back right now.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right. I was like, for sure. I was like, man, yeah, for sure. I was supposed to do something. I canceled it. I was like, yo, I can't do it. Bye. Leave. I turn on buses. I was like, cool. And my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, they about to tell me I got this thing for sure. I go back, and they were like, and then Vicky was like, hey, okay, we want you to do another scene. I was like, man, what? I was like, okay, cool. I was like, a new scene? They're like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Now, like I told you, that 2K really prepared me. That video game prepared me for just getting things and memorizing it on the spot. I was like, all right, I read it. Okay, let me understand this first. All right, what do I want? Okay, boom, boom. All right, cool. I understand this. All right, so I'm doing it over and over. All right, then I tell them I'm ready. Okay, cool. I do it. They're like, yeah, we just want to make sure, you know, no leaves unturned. Like, we want this to work. So I was like, okay, cool. So I do the new scene and stuff. They love it. So, all right, bet, cool, perfect. I'm sorry. That was, I was doing the other scenes I did again a different way. Actually, that's what it was. They gave me another note to do it a different way, but that's what happened. Okay, do that. Feel good. All right, thank you. Leaving. I leave. They all leave, I think, except for the casting, Vicky and her casting associate Leah were there. I was like, okay. I leave, they stay. And when I get to my car, I'm about to get in it, I get called from Vicky. She's like, hey, so sorry, can you come right back in? Like, did you leave yet? I was like, nah, I ain't leave yet. They're like, can you please turn around and walk back in? I was like, all right, bet. So I'm like, man, this gotta be mine. This is crazy. Like, this has to be mine. I go in there, and that's when they gave me the new scene. And then that's when I did that whole process. I was like, they gave me the new scene. I was like, all right, I'll do the new scene. And they're all like, great, we love it. Okay, cool. I was like, all right. Thought they were going to tell me some good news then, but I was like, all right, I guess I'll have to wait. Okay, cool. I leave. And then when I leave, I go to my boy's spot in West Hollywood. My boy, Matt Murray, he's an actor. He's on the show called In the Dark right now. And but the only people there is me and my boy, Stefan James. Stefan James was in Homecoming and If Beale Street Could Talk. He was the lead actor of Beale Street Could Talk, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the reason I say this is because we had just found out that he was going to be doing If Beale Street Could Talk. Oh. And so we were geek. Woo, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Sitting down, my agent calls me, and she was just like, hey, and I was just like, we got any news? She was like, yeah. And she didn't sound excited, so I was like, what the man? I was like, all that? And I'm thinking in my head, like, all that, and I'm not going to get this. And she goes, yeah, so you got the role. And I was like, oh, let's go. And I had on speaker, and me and my boy Stefan, we like former athletes. So we just like bumped each other, like, let's fucking go. I was just so geek because like I worked with Spike, but like that's on a video game, and I had a really small role in a movie that a lot of people didn't see. So it was like, it was good for my resume for the like, to help me to get other things. Yeah. And it was just, it was a blessing, but like I never had something that was out there, and like now I could like, that was getting me now into these other rooms and circles and stuff. I was like, wow. So I was just so excited about that. And it was just, honestly, just a chance of a lifetime. I mean, for me, a thing that's always important to me. I always said, like, I'm not one of those, like, because there's certain, I mean, whatever, it is what it is. There's actors out there, like black actors out there that don't want to do black shit because they're afraid of being boxed.
Right.
And a part of me, I get that if you're doing just like low quality shit.
Yeah.
You don't want to be boxing low quality shit of anything, whether it's black or not. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So I'm like, I get that, but don't equate that to just being black. Like there's bad shit that's not black. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So for me, I was looking for stuff to do of quality and for the culture. I just wanted to do shit of quality and for the culture at first, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I want to do that first, and then I can expand my horizons. But I just want to do shit that I like. Growing up, I love Love Jones and Brown Sugar and all that shit. I just wanted to, all this stuff, and so I got that, and it was just a big moment for me because then I was really working with people I admire. I was meeting people. Then I'm getting invited to shit now. I was like, damn, I'm getting free stuff now and stuff.
Right.
To, like, go to parties.
Like, we made it now.
This is fun. Shoot. But yeah, so that really changed a lot for me. Really, I can't thank Issa and Prentice. I can't thank them enough for real. They're just amazing individuals. I talk to them to this day. If I need advice, if I want to ask them something, I mean, I even when I was going through the process of Marcus King for the BET show, I called Issa. I was all right. So what do you think? Like, BET starting to turn things around. They're starting to work with these people. Boom, boom. Like, Tracy Edmonds producing, Vanessa Middleton's writing. You know what I mean? We're just talking about it. And but like these are people I trust and I reach out for, and I have like friendships to this day. And I just talked to Prince the other day. So yeah, it just really happy. It was like summer camp working on that set.
Yeah. But that's cool. I love your character. Like, he's in a relationship. You quote unquote relationship with Molly.
Yeah. Asterisk. Yeah.
And they're always having like some juicy sex scenes, and you also have some juicy sex scenes in games people play. So how do you prepare for something like that? It always feels like it would be awkward. Like, how do you prepare for something like that?
So it's funny, like the first time before I did anything, I took me and Yvonne went out to lunch. I just was like, I want to make sure that's something I'd rather do. If I'm gonna be intimate with somebody on set, I want us to get to know each other, get comfortable with each other, what's our do's and what's our don'ts, and just kind of like just vibe, because like you could act and fabricate everything, but like if the less I have to fabricate, if I could just enjoy you as a friend, then that's going to translate over as love, because of when you mix it with your acting, in my opinion. So me and Yvonne went out to lunch. It was great. We talked about things and stuff, and Yvonne's a virgin in real life. She's really religious and ready for marriage and stuff. So yeah, so I was just kind of like, I was like, all right, I just want to make sure how this all operates. But then it was funny because I was going to her for like, okay, well, how does this work on set? You know what I mean? I'm a virgin when it comes to the set, so I ain't never done it. So she, broke it down. So, and then I talked to Jay Ellis, and he was Jay and Alon. They both told me how it goes, and so I was like, all right. And then you could get all the advice you get and feel cool and stuff. And you could have all the experience you can in real life, all you want. But when it comes to the day of filming it, it's like, I came in my trailer, saw the robe and the cock sock, and I was like, whoa, this is happening. I was like, whoa. And for the people who don't know what the cock sock is, that's like when you put everything in it and you tighten it up so that it's like a nude color thing. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's just like, you blocking everything. And so I was just like, man, so everybody was so respectful and made it comfortable, but I was just really nervous. And one of our one of our costume designers or wardrobe, one of our wardrobe team members was like, look, she's like, look over there, Yvonne. You see how relaxed she is, you know, it's work, you know, just doing your job. You see, and she's a virgin. I was like, right, okay, you're right. Let me just keep it cool. And then, so I was like, all right. Then after the first take or two, I was like, okay, cool, we here now. I just need to get those first out the way. And then we got to, and it was very professional, it's all choreography in a sense. It's like a dance and stuff. So you just doing what you got to do. For some reason, like when I did Gangsta People Play, I mean, again, the process is like the same. Like, I met up with, or I talked to Boog a couple times, Lauren. I talked to Lauren a couple times. We just like being cool, and then we vibed on set, man. It was great working with her, and then with Parker, obviously we had now from the book. From what I understood from the book, like the relationship between Marcus and Layla was a bigger thing. So I was listening to the audiobook before I got the script. So I thought that Parker and myself were going to be way more involved in that. And then it turned out we barely saw each other that whole season. It was like funny. I was like, okay. But we still had a scene that we had to be, intimate. So, and so we met up, and we, me, her, and a friend, we all met up, and just talked and vibed, had a good time. We was just talking and laughing and stuff. So that made me feel good. But for some reason, when the day came, I don't know why, when me and Parker had our scene, I was so nervous. And she knew, like, she was like, you got this. Like, what the heck? She was like so cool about it. And so she made me feel a little better. But the thing was just that on Gangsta People Play set, there was way more people in that room than there was on the Insecure set. So I wasn't used to that. So I was like, whoa. And like there was times where like, me and Parker were about to get intimate, and like she has to simulate like she's going down on my character. When she exited out my view, I was looking straight into the eyes of our sound guy. And I was just like, what the hell? I was like, all right, cut. I started laughing. So yeah, it was kind of a different experience. But after that, I was good with everything else. After that, I was pretty good with that. And then when me and Lauren had our scene in the kitchen, even though it wasn't much, she was really nervous because she never done anything like that. So I was just like, so then that's when I had to become the one that was like, yeah, this is, be good, just this and that. Tell me what you don't want, boom, 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 and that's it. We'll knock this out. And there wasn't too many people in there, so that was cool. And as long as there's not a lot of people in there, I'll feel fine. But when there was a lot, I was like, whoa, that was different.
Yeah, that seemed like that could be really awkward with like all these eyes watching you.
Yeah, for sure.
So that brings us to Games People Play, which you are the leading male in the show. So tell us a little bit about the show and more about your role in it. Like, how did it feel to go from, being a guest star or reoccurring to leading man?
Yeah, so with Games We Will Play, I mean, it's I was actually hesitant because I was like, all right, I've done a lot of basketball commercials, I've done NBA 2K. I know I'm tall, I'm 6'8", 6'9", former basketball player. And so I was like, for me, I was always like, if I'm gonna take a basketball role in a movie or a show, I want it to be the right one, right? Because, and then at first I was like, it seemed like it was more female driven, which I was like, that's fine. But for me to be a basketball player, I would want to be in something that was female driven. It was like, and it seemed like it was the women were the leads, and then I was coming behind all three of them. And which, I mean, Lauren, Karen, and Parker are amazing. But for me, I was like, I kind of want something where I'm the lead of and this and that. So like, these were my preconceived notions of this, right? So this is what I was like, I know it was like about the high life, the LA high life and stuff like that. And, the life of a basketball player and his wife, and he cheated on her and stuff like that. And I was like, man, at first I was like, I always tell people, like, I'm like, I don't mind anything like this. Like, if it's in a stereotypical setting or something stereotypical, I don't mind if it's done in like a dope way or authentic way. Like Atlanta, that's stereotypically set in the hood, really, but nobody looks at Atlanta as a hood show because Donald Glover and them, and they do it in a dope way, right? So, but and I knew I was like, okay, there's gonna be some soapy elements. So I was like, I get that, 'cause this is like one of the things you binge and stuff like that. And so at first I was like, man, I don't know. So this is how I was looking at it when it was first came to me. And I was recurring on Insecure and I was recurring on Good Trouble. And I was like, you know what? And then I read it. I was like, okay, it's a little fun. I still wasn't sure. And then Tracy Edmonds gets me on the phone. And when she gets you on the phone, man, these are sellers. That's hook, line, sinker. It's like you might as well already say yes before you answer the phone because she gonna get you to say yes. I was like, she called me and I was like, man, I was just this concern or this question. She answered all my questions. She almost at that point, she kind of just gave me like everything I wanted in a sense. And I was like, how do I not do this? And then I was like, and then I'm gonna be. Then she was like, no, it's not like, she's like, it's not the three women and then you're behind them. Right. She's like, you're the leading man and you have your own storyline and you go neck and neck. Like, you know what I mean? Like obviously Lauren's, our lead. And I was like, for sure, I get that. And I was like, she's like, but you're right there. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. So then I started feeling about, okay, give me more of a, like, something to work with. Cause I'm like, I at that point in my career, I've always just serving a woman's story. I was always serving someone's story. And I was like, that's fine. I just don't want to always be getting booked to like be serving like it's like the woman we get to know, but then me, we don't really get to dive into my life like that. Right. And I have to serve the woman's story. And it's not just about serving a woman's story, just serving another character story, period, whatever it is, whether it's serving my father's story, my brother's story, whatever it is. Like, I just kind of wanted to get into something where you kind of dive into me as a character, because I've never really had that. Not on film and TV, had it in the video game a bit, but still different. And so, but yeah, when she told me how that thing was breaking down, I was like, okay, great. And I read the first script. And I at first I just read my storyline first just to see how that would go. And I was like, you know what, like, I was like, I could do this right here, and I was like, I could be a leading man of a series. I was like, for sure, this could help me a lot. And I think this is where I think the show is really going to help me and has helped me with. It's been very collaborative. It's been very like Vanessa and Tracy are amazing at really collaborating with me because they know that I myself creating my own stuff on my side that I'm not overbearing. I throw little ideas here, nothing that's like a whole storyline or switch something, but just little things here and there. It's kind of been like film school for me. I get to ask questions and they answer them, and it has been amazing. Like the producing side, Tracy helps me with all my questions on the producing side. Vanessa with all the writing stuff, being a showrunner. It's just they've been very amazing to me, and I couldn't really ask for better. It's been such a good experience, and then and the cast, I love the cast. We have such a good time together when we're together. So it's gonna be nice to finally link up. People don't realize it's been like 2 years since we've been on this set. So like it's really nuts when you think about it because that never really happens. Once you go 2 years not being on the set of something, you probably got canceled. But like, all this stuff happening with COVID and then, unfortunate tragedies that happened too. Like, so it was just like one after another. It just, it was it's been really interesting. So I'm kind of excited to get back with the gang and just create some fun. And I'm really liking what I've seen so far. It's exciting. It's exciting season. And for me, especially, like, I feel there's just a lot of more growth with my character. And other characters too, to be honest. When I was reading everything, I was just like, wow, I'm excited about it for real.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really good season. I know the fans have been asking about it. When is it coming back? When's it coming back? And
I know,
we're like COVID, blame it on the COVID.
So how do you feel about working during these times as a writer during these times with a writer's room? Obviously you guys aren't together breaking things down. Like, what do you feel the main differences are when you're working like that remotely this time versus coming to work every day and going to an actual writer's room and breaking story together and things like that? Like, what do you feel?
Well, I personally am not one of the writers, but I know I've seen them in action because when we were filming season 1, we
Yeah.
were actually right there, you know, our production offices and the writer's room,
Yeah.
you know, in one and the same. So I got to see how they interacted and everything.
Right.
You know, as opposed to when they started writing again during COVID, everything was on Zoom, and they had to get a flow going to figure out how to get that energy, because the energy is different, of course, when you're in the room.
Of course.
With each
well,
other.
Like, I'm just meaning in general, how do you feel like just remotely? I know I said writing just because I'm in writing mode right now. Like, what do you feel like is a difference right now working remotely versus when everything was open, you were going to place and meeting to hear this or whatever you were doing? Like, what do you feel the main difference is for you?
It's the energy, because, you know, you get when you're going to all the different meetings or the table reads and stuff like that, it just creates a whole energy, and everybody is interacting, and it's like ideas are flowing and things like that. Now it feels kind of like you're there, but it's like you're not. So it kind of feels almost like going through the motions, because you're not there with each other. So it's you know, you still get stuff done, but you know, you're not, you don't have that energy. So energy is important.
No, for sure.
Human contact is important.
It is.
But everything is still going smooth. Everything is going fine, and everybody's excited to get started. And it's like we're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, we'll see how this happens.
So what were some of your favorite scenes or episodes for last season?
Oh man. There was a couple, you know. There was a scene with Lauren and myself when we were doing marriage counseling. I liked that because that was, you know, like a lot of scenes between me and Lauren I liked. Anything that was just me and her, I really like. I've been a big fan of Lauren, to be honest, for a long time. And I've always been someone that said, I'm like, I always just wanted people to give her the opportunity to be like the leading woman. You know what I mean? So I was glad Games Who Played did that. And like, but I also think she can handle so much. Whatever you throw at her, I think she can handle it. You know, I don't care if David Fincher came to her to be like, yo, we want you in this. Like, she would be able to do it. I thoroughly believe it. I think she has a natural talent. Like that, you know, where it's just easy for her, to me. So anything with her when it was like, there was the counseling scene where we are just opening up. I really enjoyed doing that. There was another scene I loved where her character is telling my character that she bought a winery and she was really excited about it. And my character was kind of very indifferent about it. Just kind of like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Dope. And then I was like, is there any leftovers from last night? And I just kind of went straight to that. And she was like, well, damn, like, you know, I ain't say just like, you know, when you got drafted, like, I bet, like, you know, it was just kind of like this. And at the end, you know, he's just kind of like, nah, I ain't mean like that. I'm just saying, you know, I don't know nothing about it, whatever. It was just kind of like she just wanted to be appreciated a little bit more. And my character's looked a little blind to that and was like, you know, when he realized, he was like, damn, are you mad at me? And she just walks away. And like, it was this, because she was like, so I always like, she was just so adorable to me in that scene where she was like, I bought a winery. And like, she was just so excited. And then my character was like, oh, all right. Like, I felt bad.
That was one of those Marcus ain't shit moments.
Yeah, it really was. He wasn't helping his case at all. So it was just like, you know, that was definitely another thing I liked. Another one where I was trying to like, I wanted to gain complete trust with her and like let her have the passcode to my phone. That was fun. And then the last two I would say is I got to do a scene with Delvon Rowe, who was a friend of mine who played at Michigan State. And we done basketball commercials together throughout the years. And so to finally be on something where he was a recurring role, like one of his bigger roles that he got, and I was able to help, you know, get him on the show and cast him on it. Like, it made me feel really good. Like I could see why a lot of like when these producers or writers, casting directors give opportunities to people and see what they do with it. Like I see why they feel so good, just because it was just dope to work with my boy, and for us to mix our first love of basketball and our current love of and passion of acting. That was great. And then the last one was playing basketball in the IE in the Inland Empire when we were at Citizens Bank.
That was home.
Yeah, that was in the IE, and I was like, this is cool. My dad came through, was watching. My barber was there, I think my mom came through with my daughter. Yeah, she came through with my daughter towards the end of the day. So I was really happy to do that. It was kind of like this cool coming home moment. Like, I'm in the IE, I'm shooting a show that I'm a male lead of on one of the major networks and stuff. And, it's just like, it just felt amazing to kind of just do that. Cause I never thought, I was like, I'm never going to be shooting in the Inland Empire. Why would I ever shoot in the Inland Empire?
Right.
Never
It's like, yeah.
Sure enough, man, they did. It's funny because I remember they were like thinking about arenas. I was like, oh, Citizens Bank Arena in Ontario is pretty good. I never thought that was going to be something that actually get used, but they did. And I for sure thought we were going to be at USC or the Forum or something.
Right,
like that. And with the college basketball commercials, we always use those. And so that was a amazing day for me.
Yeah, I was actually I went.
You came through, right?
Huh?
You came through, right?
Yeah, I came. I think I only came one day though, because I was trying to avoid having to go there because of that drive.
Yeah.
And I think I almost skated by without having to go in there. Tracy was like, I'm gonna need you to come out here. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
And then when you drive past the beer factory.
Yep, for sure. When you on that 210, boy.
I'm way out here by the beer cans. I call them the beer cans.
That's funny.
But that was a fun day though.
Yeah, for sure. It really was. Long days, but fun.
Yeah. So what are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to?
Man, so much. Musically wise, I mean, I'm such an R&B fan. I just, anything that's new, I'm always trying to find artists that hasn't popped yet. And like right now is an artist named Dylan Sinclair that I'm really listening to, that I'm a big fan of. I think lyrically he's amazing. I think his voice is great. He's a Toronto artist named Dylan Sinclair. He's really good. As far as shows, I watch so much. So like currently, like I could say like right now, I finished Bridgerton just because I heard everybody talking about it. I was like, all right, let me check this out. And I was getting tattooed the other day and I was on the chair for so long that I just burned through the whole season because it was on. I was like, all right. But right now I'm trying to watch, what was I watching recently? I just finished a show called Kingdom it's on Netflix. It's not a Netflix original, but it's on Netflix. There's actually two shows called Kingdoms. One's a Korean zombie show that's really good, actually. And I'm a big fan of Korean cinema. So one of that, and there's another one's like this. It's set in like the MMA world, and it's based on this family, like his father and his sons, his two sons. And I mean, the acting and that show is just incredible to me. Those both are called Kingdom. They're both called Kingdom. Yeah, and then trying to wait till Succession comes back and Snowfall. Those are I think Succession and Snowfall are the two best shows on TV.
Yeah, I love those shows, both of them.
I think they're the best shows, period. That honestly I've ever seen, but like they're just the best shows. They're so good. Obviously waiting for Insecure to come back, and then The Mandalorian. I've never been a Star Wars fan, but for some reason I watched that first episode. I was like, oh, I might be able to watch this. And WandaVision. So I'm trying to watch all that during all this. So, we'll see how that goes. And then I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm definitely listen. I saw you did one with Monty.
Yeah. And Barry.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, you did one with Barry too? Okay. Yeah. I got to tap into both of them. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Script Notes and
I like that one. Yeah.
Script Notes is great. There's a lot of like in the business podcasts I like to listen to. I just love it. Oh, the producer's guide with Todd Gardner is a really good one too. Okay. That's a good one for anybody that's just interested in the filmmaking process and what the producer's side goes through and all that. Things like that's I consume myself with a lot of content. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm a podcast junkie too.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What podcast are you listening to?
Let's see what I listen to. I love to listen to Screenwriters Rant Room with
Oh
Hilliard
yeah.
Guess and them.
Mm-hmm.
I like my political ones. I listen to
For sure.
Pod Save America.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
What else do I listen to? I listen to like a lot of entrepreneur ones.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then let's see what else do I listen to? Yeah, Script Notes for sure. I love that one. Oh, and one of my favorites I just started listening to is Higher Learning with Van Lathan and Rachel
Oh yeah,
Lindsay.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Van, I used to listen to Red Pill. He had me on
Mm-hmm.
for an episode too. But he's just good at what he does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just his arena, and whatever he's
Yeah.
on, I'm probably gonna listen to just because he's just so damn good at it.
Yeah, he that's really his spot because he knows how
Yeah,
to interview people and he knows how to tell like really
absolutely,
good stories.
absolutely. Yeah, he's really good. I was I had a podcast with Nick Young and Shanae
Mm-hmm.
Ogumake. It was mixed. It was basketball culture, and we had him on for an episode. And he was a really good guest. Like this is just
Oh,
what
okay.
he does. So yeah, it was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
Yeah.
what kind of advice would you give to some young kid who may be in the IE like you were,
Mm-hmm,
with
mm-hmm,
no prospects into
mm-hmm.
Hollywood? Like,
Yeah,
what advice would you give he or she sitting on the couch just trying to figure it all out?
yeah. Obviously, it always depends. Like, because if you're if you want to be a writer,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds you're always gonna hear this is just right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Really right. And then now we're in a day and age where everybody's basically pretty attainable or reachable, and if they're not, somebody around them is. So just write, study the craft. Read scripts of movies that are already made.
Mm-hmm.
Read scripts of movies that you haven't seen yet either. Read it
Yeah.
and then watch the movie, see how it translates.
Mm-hmm. I love doing that.
Me too. I really do. I think it's really helpful. For acting, I always tell people, I'm like, there's so many ways to start out. I mean, I'm always telling people to get on everything, whether it's Actors Access or LA Casting,
Mm-hmm.
Central Casting background. Get on set, get some experience, see how it operates. Like when I see people that are doing background, like for me, anytime I did background starting out, like I went there to study. Like I had a notebook with me. I took notes on things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd ask questions for anybody willing to answer. And I really took in the process. I really loved being there. And I tell them, get in the acting class, really work on that muscle weekly if you can once you're in the acting class, and then look up interviews of your favorite actors, writers, directors. Look up these interviews, learn as much as you can from these people. And then try to get yourself. I used to do scene studies with other people that was trying to act too. We'll get a scene and we'll just run it together. Just try, like I always say, like, what are you doing? Ask yourself, what are you doing today to make yourself better at your craft? What did you do today? So whether if you were listening to a podcast about the field, if you interviews, if you read a book. Whether it's Ivana Chubbuck or somebody else or Larry Moss, whoever, if you're watching like videos of them speaking on acting, just are you watching what's the content that you watch? Are you watching films? Are you watching these shows of these actors, and how they work and the choices they make?
Mm-hmm.
So for acting, I'm like you got to really be self-motivated. And then the main thing is like two last things. Do you really love it, or do you love the idea of it? Because those two are very different things. I've had many, many people come to me asking for advice, especially once they see, where I came from and how I transitioned over. They, people like, if people knew me or met me before, since they see me doing it, obviously they're like, okay, well, I can do it, and you can, but are you willing to put in the hours like me and a lot of these other people in this business have put in? Like, it's not just about the end result, it's about the process, and you really got to be invested into the process. People always love, wanting to be like Kobe, LeBron, and KD, but they're not seeing what type of hours these guys are putting in the summer. And that's where they separate themselves. So I'm always like talking about that. And then also the last thing is just the village, man. Look who's like, really be mindful of who's around you, who's feeding you, who feeds you, you know, mentally and spiritually, and who's pushing you in a positive direction, you know, because that transition can be tough sometimes. Sometimes, you know, we hold on to certain things longer than we should because we feel well, I've known them for this many years. But if they're a detriment to your progress, then that you don't owe anybody anything. It's, you know, you get with really positive, like-minded people, hungry people that push you, and people that care about your well-being, and no jealousy and stuff like that. Because I will say my career really elevated when I got the right village around me. It really did help. And now we're at a certain point in our careers, but now we all are doing well, and I couldn't be more proud of us. So that would be the advice I would give somebody. That was where I was at one point.
So what's next for Sarunas?
Well, obviously, you know, soon we do season 2 for Games People Play. Currently shooting season 3 for Good Trouble. That's on Freeform and Hulu, doing that. I got 2 movies coming out this year that I'm excited about. So, you know, I definitely would be posting about those on my page once those come out. Really excited about those because those are 2 very different projects and roles that I was able to do. So I'm really proud to be a part of those. Love the cast, loved the filmmakers of it. Just really excited to see how those come out. And then we'll be you know, producing and making my first film finally. Cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited that right now we're locking down a writer. You know, I got a great producer attached to help me, and I'm really excited to be working with her. I got a great, as of right now, I got a really great cast that's kind of penciled in to go forward. Everybody's agreed, but we'll see how everything turns out. You never know in this business. So, but you know, we're just keeping, you know, pounding the pavement, and that's the thing I'm most excited for. You know, just to continue to get into that realm of creating.
Is that anything you can like tell us a little bit what it's about, or is it still all hush hush?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a little bit about what it's about. It's basically a murder mystery, right? Okay. And it happens amongst these 6 friends, and it's 6 male friends, been friends since childhood for years, and they have their bi-weekly game night on payday, you know, and they gamble a bit. They get a little loaded, smoke a bit, drink a bit, and it all takes place in this. One of the characters, basically the basement of his grandmother's house, where he's basically the man of the house because he takes care of her and everything. And she took him in when his parents passed, and so throughout the night, you know, as they get more loaded, you know, it's pretty normal for them to just sleep there until they're sobered up or when they wake up in the morning, because, you know, nobody can drive like that. Everybody puts their keys in the bowl. But it's just one of the guys doesn't wake up, a pure strangulation. And from there, just this whirlwind of, we start finding out like, well, this person did something to this person, or like each person had something with that person, with the person that died. And it's a real test of, you know, the loyalty and brotherhood. And also when you find out the reason why he was strangled, it's like this moral battle within yourself of like, I mean, obviously it's never right to kill nobody, but then you're like, but that's crazy. Like, you know, it's just like, it's just like, you know, it's a spider web of things. And, you know, every time I watched, like, you know, I always loved murder mysteries, you know, like, you know, Knives Out was amazing. And it's not like nothing like that, because that's very like, there's just high level. I wanted this to be more contained. But every time I watched like Hateful Eight, Murder on the Orient Express, Clue, even as a kid, I always wondered myself, what would the Black version of this be like? You know, I've never seen a cast of Black people go through this. And so I'm just really excited. And the actors, I can't say the actors yet, but once all that's official, I can't, people will be like, whoa, like people will love this cast. It's really dope. All these guys are friends of mine, and or some newly acquainted or a newly acquainted friend as well. But like, you know, just it's I'm really excited about this just to see where this goes forward. But yeah, more to come to announce on that once that all gets you know, finalized.
Oh, cool. That sounds exciting. Can't
Yeah,
wait to see that.
You know, I'm excited. Yeah.
So where can the people find you online if they want to keep up with what you're doing?
Ron J, RONEJAE. That's my Instagram and Twitter. And I'm just on Instagram and Twitter, basically. It's all I really use. And that's where people see me acting a fool.
Cool. Yeah, I see you post pictures of your daughter. She's such a cutie.
Yeah, she is. She's with me right now. She melts me. It's just ridiculous how soft a girl makes a father. My goodness.
That is so cute. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And this was a really good interview. So thank you so much.
It. Yeah, no doubt. Let me know when this out because I'm going to listen.
I'll definitely send you all the information.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks for taking the time to tune in to the WordyGirl Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.wordygirlent.com. That's WordyGirlent.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at WordyGirlEnt and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/WordyGirlEnt. And always remember, it all begins with a single word. So what are you waiting for? Go write.